This video goes over solving equations with multiple steps. So the first group of examples are ones that we've seen before. Here we are going to do the opposite operation. So we want to get m by itself. So I've got plus 7, I'm going to take away 7, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Here I've got 0, and on my right side I've got m equals minus 2, which means that my solution to the equation is m equals minus 2. On my next one here, in order to get x by itself, I've got plus 2, so I'm going to take away 2 on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to take away 2 on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I get x equals minus 10. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut. What I can actually do is move the term and change the sign, which is equivalent to doing the opposite operation. So x equals 4 plus 7, which means that x equals 11. In D, I have minus 5 as my example. I'm going to move it over and change the sign. Now I've got y equals minus 10 plus 5, which means that y equals minus 5. Now I am multiplying between the 4 and the m, so my opposite operation is to divide both sides by 4, leaving me with m equals 9. Here I've got multiplication again. I'm going to divide both sides by minus 2, and then I've got x equals minus 6. Here I've got 5 times x. My opposite operation is 5, so I'm going to divide both sides by 5, which gives me x equals 5. And my last two examples, they have division. My opposite operation is multiplication, so I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator, which leaves me with m equals 28. Here I'm multiplying by the denominator, so I'm multiplying by minus 2, and then I'm left with x equals 10. In my second example, now I have multiple steps. Okay? So the first thing that I'm going to undo is addition or subtraction. Essentially, we are going to follow BEDMAS backwards when we're solving an equation. So the first thing I'm going to undo is addition or subtraction. So I'm going to move the 5 over and change the sign. Now I've got 2w equals 6. Now I'm left with an equation with multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2, leaving me with w equals 3. Here I'm going to undo my subtraction by moving it to the right, changing the sign. I've got 6a equals 18. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, which gives me a equals 3. In example C, I've got plus 8 on the left-hand side. I'm going to move it over and change the sign. Now I've got minus 2a equals 4, and then I'm going to undo my multiplication by dividing, and that's going to leave me with a equals minus 2. Here, I've got my variable on the right-hand side. I'm still going to move everything over to the opposite side. So I'm going to move my plus 1 over and change the sign. So now I've got 15 equals 5a. And then I'm going to undo my multiplication. So I'm going to divide by 5. So then I get a equals 3, just writing my variable on the left-hand side. In E, I have two operations happening here on the left-hand side. I've got 2 times m, and I've got m divided by 3. The first thing that I'm going to undo is my division, and I'm going to undo that by multiplying both sides by the denominator. So I get 2m equals 12. Now I'm left with multiplication on the left-hand side. I'm going to undo that by dividing both sides by 2, which simplifies to m equals 6. Now in example F, I'm going to take the 3, move it over to the right-hand side, change the sign. Then I'm left with minus 2a equals 8. Now I can divide both sides by minus 2 and be left with a equals minus 4. Example G, I'm going to move the minus 3 over to the other side, change the sign. Now I'm left with minus 4a equals 12. Divide by minus 4, and I'm left with a equals minus 3. Example H, I'm going to undo the division first by multiplying both sides by 5. On my left-hand side, I'm multiplying by 5 and then dividing by 5. Those two are opposite operations, so they cancel out. And I'm left with minus 3m equals 60. Now I'm going to divide both sides by minus 3, which gives me my answer of m equals minus 20. Finally, example I, I'm going to multiply both sides by 4 first. Cancels out on my left-hand side. I'm left with 3y equals minus 36. And now I can divide both sides by the number in front of the y, leaves me with an answer of y equals minus 12.